So this sort of energy of mind is just praised, we praise the heck out of it. But this energy of soul, it's like we're starving. We're starving for it. Then you got another way that Herod shows up, and that is sort of this energy that I alluded to earlier of hard work versus effortless mastery. Hard work versus effortless mastery. I drove by a church the other day on 6th Avenue, and it said, it was painted on the side, never, never, never give up. I wanted to give up when I read it. Because it was this energy of, it's so hard, you gotta push through. And this kind of underlying energy that was like, if you do that, yeah, you're gonna succeed. And I think, we've got to give up our current level of understanding to be able to hear something new, right? To be able to hear the voice of God. And in a way, that's what this Jesus story, this birth of the Christ is talking about, that humility. Now, if we don't, we kind of just stay at the same level, right? At that same level, we just kind of join in with the acceptable consciousness, the group think that's going on today in the world, and we don't really grow very much. I mean, who is really telling you you're born with psychic energy, and you can develop that in meditation? Most people want to squash that, right? Herod consciousness. Who's telling you, there's divine light within you, literally divine light, that you can go in meditation and see and have a personal, direct experience with. Much like people in near-death experience when they see that tunnel of light, and you can actually merge with that light at the end of the tunnel and experience love that's beyond anything you've ever imagined. Health and vibrancy. Who tells you that? Most of the time people say, that's out there, that's airy-fairy, or whatever word they want to use to try and squash that divine consciousness being born in you. I think the very worst is when we kind of operate in a way and we walk through our lives and we don't even realize that we're squashing the consciousness. We don't even realize that there's anything other than what we've been given. You're born, you grow up, you go to college, you work, and then you die. So I want you to challenge this. I really want you to look into whatever it is in your mind that's limiting, or in your energy, or in your mood that's limiting, and just start to get serious and focused on feeling good. Because if every child in the world is born with that energy, where did it go? This is why I like to read books about the yogis of India, because they have these personal experiences of the divine that are so profound and so powerful. And they tell you that we all can do it. It's in all of us. And not only that, but they start expressing it outwardly in their life. And it breaks the mold of everything I've been shown of what it means to be a human being. It's pretty cool. So at this point, we're kind of listening a little bit more to these angels in our consciousness that are saying, there's a star there, follow it. There's an idea there, a little nudge from God that's saying, go this way. You can give birth to something new in your life. I want you to go for it. Buddhahood or bust. Go for it. Because as we do this, it's like we shift our inner world, right? We shift how we start to feel every day in our life. And we can wake up in the morning and we can say, instead of this energy of heaviness, we can say, thank you for this effortless and joyful day, God, in which my dreams get to be and are being realized. Thank you for this experience of love within me. Thank you for this chance to expand into new aspects of myself. Wow, that's a little different than I got to get to work by 8. Better do your routine. So you see how far we've kind of moved out of this energy. And it's very hard for love to be born if we have all these weights on our mind that are given to us by the collective consciousness that are so easy to just sink back and just work with, roll with. So what I want you to do is get really bold. Balanced and bold. That's what I want to say. Balanced materially and bold spiritually. That is a powerful combination. Because a lot of times we try to bypass the material. It's just as important as the spiritual. It's all one, right? So balance materially, bold spiritually. And I want you to say, why can't I think of spirit at every moment, at each and every moment? Or feel spirit if I can't think of it, if I'm doing an intellectual job, why can't I feel God as I'm typing the keys to the keyboard? Why can't I live life as if it is effortless? Why can't I have my own spiritual experiences and visions and every single day and get up right afterward and go to work? You know? We've been sort of taught that we can't do this, that it's somehow for special people or somewhere else, but this is your true nature. This is how we have all been born. We are spiritually and materially abundant. I think when we kind of toy with this and when we play with it, we realize, oh my gosh, you know, life doesn't have to be a struggle. Life doesn't have to be hard. We can live in that state of consciousness what Steiner was talking about, that we all started in between the ages of 1 to 3, that Christ consciousness. We can get back there without having to get, you know, to the very end of our life to realize it. So what I want you to do is take control over your own mind. Take control back over your own mind. And start to rewire those thoughts. Take the mundane things in your life and just make them magical. You know, go into the bathroom. I want you to make it magical. Go into the store. Make it magical. Because think about it logically. How many years do we spend going to the bathroom? How many years do we spend at work? You know, after you total it all up, it's just a few years left. So you might as well use that time and convert it into spiritual energy, right? And make it magical. And that begins to build that energy of love within us. Now we start to kind of move to this sort of manger scene that I alluded to earlier. And it's an energy of real simplicity and openness. Very different than we see most of our lives today. Now again, we kind of have that energy of life is tough, life is effortful. And in a way, I kind of look at that and say, you know, it's kind of arrogant, actually. I mean, we can hang out there for 5 or 10 years and say, yeah, let's have the life is tough experience, you know, and really get into it. But if you think about the energy of arrogance, there's kind of a tightness, a constrictedness to it, right? And if you think of the energy of humility, there's a spaciousness, there's an openness there. And that really is the energy that's being suggested to us so that we can give birth to that divine within us. When we do that, we're kind of opening the manger of our heart, so to speak. We're opening that energy. So what I want you to do is create some space, create some openness in you. When I look at my son Simon, he just, all the time, he's in this state of just kind of wide-eyed wonder. He's just like... and he just stands, and it's just the most amazing expression to me of the manger scene. He's just always in that state, you know? I could be doing the same thing and he's there. And sometimes he smiles, you know. But he's so humble and so open, drinking it all in. Now, as we kind of soften like that, as we say, you know, maybe life doesn't have to be hard, and maybe it doesn't have to be all these things that I've been taught, we start to open up, the love then really starts to flow. The love starts to be birthed in us, and those angels that are speaking to us all the time, we can hear them a little bit better. Because we've slowed down and we've kind of released some of these belief systems that we've been holding on to, maybe without even knowing it. And then we start to get the courage to break out of the groupthink. Because it takes some courage to really step away from this energy that is just like a, you know, maelstrom that we can just flow into like a tide. We have to step out of that tide. And I would just say, get radical and return to love. Get radical and return to love. Because it, to me, is the most precious thing on earth. I mean, we are searching for it. You go onto a dating website and it's like, does my butt look good? Am I saying the right catchphrases? Do I have all the nice things that I'm supposed to say to attract and draw love into my life? You know, we try to schedule it, we try to achieve it, we try to manipulate it. We're desperate for it. I mean, seriously. And yet, we were all born into that energy. And I would say it is the energy of life. It's just the most natural thing ever. It's like breathing air in. Love is right here, right now. And it's the Christ consciousness. So I invite us to breathe the air again. Breathe the air of love and let it start to come back into your life. That's how the Christ is born. You take 5 minutes in the morning and you light your candle. And you just sit and you look at that candle and you, like I say every week with the Christ candle, you invite it to remind you of the light that's within you, the divine light. And you say, love, you live within me. Love, you live within me. I'm here for you, love. I'm here for you, God. What do you have to teach me today? It's so simple. A little 2-year-old can do that. You know, might want to give him an electronic candle. Love, you live within me. I'm here for you, love. What do you have to teach me today? And you just practice a simple thing like that. You get up and it starts to spill over into your life. It starts to flow over into your life. And you start to bring things into your life you never imagined were possible. Orchid and I did an experiment lately, and we were thinking, why are our spiritual friends, they always seem far away? They're in Portland or wherever. And we said, well, let's just attract some. Why not just to our neighborhood? A few blocks over, let's do it. We don't get courageous like this sometimes, right? So we held the energy, and guess what? This wonderful couple moved from Seattle, and they're Gnostics, which is, they're focused on the inner light and having their own personal experience of the divine. They teach classes out of their home. They're 2 blocks away from us now. And then some other people showed up a few blocks away from them that are also Gnostics, and they come over to our house sometimes, and they brought us some cake, and pretty soon they're inside, they're sitting on the floor, and we're all singing spiritual music together. And it's like, wow, that's different, right? Because Orchid and I challenged our thoughts that we could have just fallen into, isolation and loneliness beyond the meaning of sex. And we said, no, love wants to show up in our life. And boom, there it is. And you start to really shift. You start to work with your own mind and question what you've been taught, and miracles can happen all over the place. I'm going to leave you with the final one, and that's, it's come to me, I've shared it before, but it just came to me now, and that was when my grandpa passed away, and about a month later, I had this dream, and I know I've shared this before, but it just came to me. And in that dream, I was kind of questioning who I am at that time, and this sort of crowd of individuals was walking almost like a mall, and this young man stepped forward through the crowd and extended his hand. He's this young, geeky, skinny kid, with red, curly hair. And he had these beautiful, bright blue, sparkling eyes that just had the energy of the divine in them. And I looked in those eyes and said, that's my grandpa. And I shook his hand, and he was 18 years old. He was a little younger than I was at that time in the dream. And you could feel the energy of divine love just pouring through him, as if to say, go for it, Effers. That's what he called me. Just go for it. Keep going with what you're doing. It's good. It's good. And I would wager to say, just like a little baby that's born, someone whose transitions comes back to remind us, that's the energy that's always here for us. That's the divine love that we see in this story, and that is what we're really called to realign ourselves with at this time. And so I invite you to question that mind of yours that gets in there and says, oh, life has to be humdrum and boring. Question that. And remember that you are, in a sense, like a cell phone that can tap in not just to information, but to trillions of different positive feelings, and fill yourself with that feeling. And remember that you've got the angels guiding you. And you've got the shepherds protecting you. And you've got that mind like a wise man that's ready to be steered back like that star to your true nature and witness that divine birth. And if you're willing to get humble and open to those frequencies and those energies, look at what you can draw into your life. And so I invite you to contemplate this story this week and this month, and to really let the angels remind you that behind all of these passing scenes in your life, you are being guided back home all the time. And so it is. Amen.